Welcome to the Schools of Excellence podcast, where we transform everyday leadership struggles into powerful legacies that impact generations. I'm your host, Chanie, a 20-year veteran of school leadership who has helped hundreds of school leaders achieve what many thought was impossible through our signature programs, School Leadership HQ and Enrollment Engine. With our battle-tested frameworks and blueprints, leaders have achieved 90% parent retention, 50% less staff turnover, 15% improved profit margins, and increased enrollment by 25%. My mission is simple: to revolutionize school leadership by elevating the skills, the habits, and mindset of passionate leaders ready to create lasting change. Join me as we build your legacy of excellence, one transformative conversation at a time.
Hello there, and welcome back to the Schools of Excellence podcast. I love this topic. Growth is the job, right? Professional development isn't a perk. It's really the job, because you don't grow when things are calm. You grow because they aren't, right? And I find that for a long time, we have a standard kind of in this industry that leadership is like an elective or like a hobby. And growth is considered that way, where, we invest in leadership once our systems are set, once our classrooms are staffed, once chaos quiets down, then we go do growth and all these things. But calm isn't coming, guys. And even if it did, calm doesn't make you a better leader. Discomfort does. I'm going to say that again. Calm doesn't make you a better leader. Discomfort does. Growth isn't a luxury. It's not a perk for people who have extra time. It is the work of leadership itself. And the challenge that I find with this thing is that when we believe that growth is something that we get to one day, a part of us slowly dies inside. So there's a famous quote, I can't remember who said it, that, weak times make strong people and strong people make weak times. And gosh, feel like I should know who said it. And now my brain is 1 second. Anyways, it's a wildly circulated quote, right? Which is hard times create strong men create good times, and then good times create weak men, and weak men create hard times, right? That's the cycle. So what we look at is that when we understand this concept, right? Hard seasons build strong leaders. Strong leaders should be building stable schools. Stable schools, sustainable schools can breed some comfort. But comfort, if you're not careful, can create complacency. Comfort is not a reason to coast. Comfort is your invitation for your next evolution of growth. And that is really important to sit with. It's really important to understand that every fire that you put out, every chaos, reveals the place that your school has opportunity. Every pattern that you keep repeating again and again and again is a mirror for what still needs developing, right? Every time you find yourself in the same argument with the same teacher, with the same person, it's a mirror. We haven't grown out of this yet. We're still fighting about this. And until you see professional development as your job, not a reward or a perk, you're going to keep spiraling. So we had one of our clients, I'll call him Robert, and he saw this really play out with his team of directors. He had a team of maybe 10, 15 directors. And they used to treat professional development as a bonus of when we do everything else, then we'll get to this, right? Growth is something that we do after all the work is done. And I was like, no, growth is the work. It is your job. And what happened is when I said this to him, he started measuring performance, not by tasks being completed, but by capacity being gained. His directors were expected to reflect and bring new ideas to the table. So then what happened was that when growth became part of the job description, the entire culture in the organization shifted to, instead of saying we're surviving, we're getting through the day, it was we're developing, we're becoming better people, we're becoming better leaders. If you and your team see growth as optional or as a perk, you have built a culture of maintenance, not mastery. At best, you've built a culture of maintenance. It's really a culture of complacency. Now, we find ourselves in this place not because we're not good people or good leaders at all. It's a trap of conditional growth. And the conditional growth trap is once things settle down, then I focus on my development. But settled never comes because when enrollment becomes stable, you still have to hire people. When your team is strong, someone's still going to leave. When you finally get out of the classroom, some other fire will come in to fill that place. The work doesn't stop, my loves. And that's the point. Leadership isn't the prize that you get after growth. Leadership requires growth every single day, every single moment. If you only grow when you have time, then you're always leading from behind. Growth and leadership doesn't wait for calm waters. Growth is how I lead during the storm and during the chaos. Hey, school owners, I see you. You've built a team, you've trusted others with the work, and somehow it still feels like everything lands on your shoulders. And that weight is exhausting. What if you could stop carrying it all alone? What if you can finally see exactly where your leadership is getting stuck and what to do next? That's where the strategic leadership scorecard was made for. In just 2 minutes, it will give you a clear diagnosis in one of the core areas of leading a school: enrollment, financial health, staff culture, or parent engagement. You'll get practical steps and trusted resources to help you lighten your load and unlock real ownership in your team to be able to lead with confidence. You deserve this level of steadiness. So take the scorecard now so you can lead with clarity and know that your school runs on shared ownership, real standards, and rhythms of accountability. So I spoke with a client a couple days ago, and she had a real reality check when I presented this to her. I said, I find leaders swinging between extremes. They go all in, right? They book the conferences, read the books, commit to the big change, invest in all the programs, and then they burn out. And then they retreat to, I'm just going to get back to it later. I just can't afford it right now. Affording it really means I don't have brain capacity for all this right now. Sustainable growth doesn't live in extremes. It lives in rhythm. It is not an annual retreat that gets your culture alive. It's a weekly rhythm of reflection. It is not a burst of inspiration that creates $1 million business. It's a steady pattern of learning, of applying, of debriefing. I talk about all these things in School Leadership HQ. We teach these rhythms. We have coaches that guide you. We have systems and anchors and scripts and processes that help hold all of these things and help you install them inside of your center and in your school. So click the link in the show notes for an application. Growth does not need intensity. It needs consistency. I'm going to say it again. Growth does not need intensity. It needs consistency. And consistency is not perfection. Consistency is return. Consistency is, yes, in this moment, I forgot. That doesn't mean we're not good. It means I'm human and I can try again in 5 minutes. Consistency is not perfection. Consistency is return. Return to the growth. Return to your rhythms. Return to the anchors that you know hold and sustain you. So I had a client, we'll call her Sharon, and she used to call growth her dessert, right? The thing that she'd enjoy once she finished everything else. And I said, growth is not dessert. I was like, you can come to a retreat or a spa-like experience, which I host. We host legacy retreats once a year. And that can be dessert for you. And it's delicious. And we take care of every single possible need of our clients and really, really love and pamper on them. But growth inside of your business is not dessert. Okay. And so she started creating something that I teach inside of Schools of Excellence and something I write inside of my book, a debrief rhythm where they debrief on what worked, what didn't work, and they learn and lead together. And it is so short. It's 15 minutes, but it's consistent and it is predictable, which means it happens every other week. And so they don't do these giant reflections at their annual retreats, even though they do reflection at their annual retreats. They have a consistent debriefing every other week That creates predictable safety and expands the leader's capacity more than any other best held conference can in the world. Because sustainable growth is steady and predictable, right? Not in giant growth spurts with intensity. So if we needed to redefine the job description of a leader, and I don't like job descriptions, I like calendars, professional development is not a reward, it is oxygen. And so when leaders embrace that, all of the standards start to elevate themselves. You stop getting through the day as like, well, we got through the day, so that was good. No, that's not good. Getting through the day is the bar. That is the floor. Like, if you can get through the day, congrats. You have a heartbeat and a pulse. Your job is not to get through the day. It's, I learned something today. I coached someone better today than I did last week. I handled that hard conversation with more intentionality and calm. That is growth lived in the world of action, not in the world of your head, right? And when the leader grows like that, the team mirrors it because your staff won't outgrow you, okay? They grow through you. So you have to consistently elevate yourself. If your teachers are constantly in this state of professional development, but you are like, I'm good. I don't need any mentors. I don't need any coaches. Like, I'm good. Red flag alert. You can't develop what you're not modeling. You can't develop it where you're not evolving yourself. Your growth sets the standard for the entire team's growth, right? And I hear this all the time. It's like, I'm not investing in myself this year. I already did that for a few years. Now I'm going all in on my team. That's intensity. That's extremes. No, predictable rhythms. Your teachers need containers for development. You need containers for development. Different kinds. It could be that the container of development that you were in until now took you to that season, and now you need a different type of leadership container to support you. Maybe you don't need it as intense or as frequent. Maybe you need a different kind of cadence. No problem. You can switch up your cadences. That's not the point. The point is not how often it happens. The point is that it happens predictably on rhythm. And so if there was a rhythm of supporting you of every single week, and then you're like, I don't know that I need that much. I want to invest in my team. Great. Invest in your team, but you still need a predictable rhythm of safety, of pouring into yourself and of growing. And so my invitation for you is, where have you been treating growth as a perk? Like, when I have time for the job, right? And what shift? If you made your own development part of your daily job description, which means you had rhythms of growth and development, gosh, like, what would that look like? Fires do not all go out. Systems alone will never be done. There will always be a system that will break or crack. The calendar never magically opens up or creates capacity, okay? Growth isn't what you do once work is over. Growth is what makes you stronger and stronger enough to do the work, right? Famous quote that I always say, and if you've listened to the podcast many times and you know this, Joan Rivers has a great quote. It never gets easier. You get wiser, stronger, and better. Leading in your center does not get easier and it does not get calmer. You get stronger. You get wiser. You get better. So it feels calmer. So it feels like more relief. So it feels like peace, which is beautiful. But that doesn't come because of a magical day that arrived. It comes because you are better, stronger, and wiser and more experienced. That's what happens. So if you want to install these rhythms and systems inside of your school, click the link in the show notes. I invite you to fill out an application. I'd love to have a right fit call with you and see if you're a good fit for either our Leadership HQ or our consult. We'd love to have the opportunity to support you. Thanks so much for joining me.
If you are loving the Schools of Excellence podcast and have gotten any value out of it for your school, I would love if you can do two things for me. One, subscribe to the show so you never miss an episode. And two, can you please leave us a review? Reviews help other school leaders know that this is the place to learn how to build a school of excellence. And I would be so grateful if you can do that for us. Your help and support makes this show to be able to be listened by the thousands of other school leaders all around the world. Thanks so much for listening, for giving us your time and attention each and every week, and I appreciate that you have joined us.